नमो नमः। अष्टाध्याय्यां संज्ञाः Nominations in Ashtadhyayi by S.L. Abhyankar, Mumbai, Saturday, May 23rd, 2020. One does not find in Ashtadhyayi classification of Sutrani the way they are classified by later grammarians in 6 types: Sanjna Sutrani, Paribhasha Sutrani, Adhikara Sutrani, Vidhi Sutrani, Niyama Sutrani, and Atidesha Sutrani. It is contended that Sanjna Sutrani are 91 out of total 3983 Sutrani. What basically is a Sanjna? What then is a Sanjna Sutram? One meaning of Sanjna is definition. If so, Sanjna Sutram is such Sutram wherein there is definition of a grammatical terminology. For example, Suptigantam Padam 1.4.14 defines that whatever has sup or thing at its ending is a padam. But what is a sup? What is a thing? Sup is a nomination, sanjna, for any element of swaujasamauchashtabhyam bhis, ngebhyam bhyas, gasibhyam bhyas, gaso sam gyo sup 412. Thing is a nomination, sanjna, for any element of tiptazhi, sipthastha, mipvasmas, ta tanzha, tha sathandhva, ming vahi mahing. 3478. Now, one does not how does one know sup and thing are such nominations? One cannot find this in any regular Sanskrit dictionary because these nominations are coined by Panini for composing Sutrani of Ashtadhyayi. He has very much declared how he has coined such nominations. The sutram of such declaration is Adirantena Saheta, meaning Antena Itasaha Adihi. That is a letter at the beginning, Adihi, with an ending, Antya letter, which is an end marker, It. Later grammarians call this as Anubandha. Note, Sutram 412 begins with Sung and has Pa at the end, which is the end marker. There are 21 Sum elements here. Sum, Au, Jas, etc. Out, Shas, Ta, Bhyam, Bhis, Nge, Bhyam, Bhyas, Gasing, Bhyam, Bhyas, Gas, Os, Am, Ngi, Os, Sup. Note, Svau is Sum plus Au. Chashta is Ta plus Shas plus Ta. These are sandhis employed, making the sutram read as a single compound word. May I read it again? Swaujasamau chashtabhyam bhis, ngebhyam bhyas, gasibhyam bhyas, gaso sam, gyo sup. It reads, I am taking the breaks so that the reading is convenient. Otherwise, it is one single word. Sutram 3478 also begins with Ti and has Ng at the end, which is the end marker. There are 18 Ting elements here. Tiptazhi, Sipthastha, Mipvasmas, Ta atam dha, Tha satham dvam, It vahi mahing. Note, first 9 are Ting elements for Parasmaipadinaha Tingantaha. Next 9 are Ting elements for Atmanepadinaha Tigantaha. Many of these elements are also given names, nominations, coined using the Adirantena Sahita technique, which means that each has an Adihi with an ending Antya letter, which is an end marker It. Now, what is an end marker? It. There are 7 types of it specified in as many sutrani. 132 Upadeshe Janunasika it. 133 Halantyam. 134 Na vibhaktau tusmaha. 135 Adirye tudavaha. 136 Shah pratyayasya. 137 Chutu. 138 Lashakpatadhite. Note, Sutram 134 specifies that a tusma halantyam in vibhaktau is not to be considered to be it, even if it is halantyam. I have used above the word nomination, giving a name, or a given name, or a coined name. Samjna is Sanskrit word for nomination. If so, Samjna Sutram is such Sutram where a nomination is used in a specific sense. By that, Samjna Sutrani are of 2 types. Those Sutrani wherein there is definition, Samjna, of a grammatical term, that is, Samjna of a Samjna. Those Sutrani where a nomination, Samjna, is used in a specific sense. The word Samjna itself connotes both these aspects because Samyak Samichinascha Jnayate Anaya iti Samjna. That is, Samjna gives a clear and comprehensive understanding. Donald Trump is Samjna of Donald Trump because it gives a clear and comprehensive understanding of the person Donald Trump. The very first sutram in Ashtadhyayi, Vruddhiradaich 111, is Vruddhi At Aich, meaning what one finds in At and Aich is Vruddhi. The sutram defines what Vruddhi is. So it is a Samjna Sutram. But it defines Vruddhi in terms of 2 other Samjnas, At and Aich. At means A only, because Ta at the end of At is Halantyam, and hence is an It, an end marker. But a Samjna At has only A in it. Coining a Samjna with only one beginning element is justified by Sutram Taparastat Kalasya 1170. Aich means beginning with I until the end marker Ch. There is Shiva Sutram number 4, I ouch. So Aich means I and Au. Aich is a Samjna coined by Adirantena Saheta technique applied to Shiva Sutram 4, I ouch. Grammarians later than Panini, in their commentaries on Ashtadhyayi, have coined a Samjna Pratyaharaha for all Samjnas which can be coined by Adirantena Sahita technique applied to Shiva Sutran. Note, Pratyaharaha is not a Paniniya Samjna, not a Samjna coined by Panini. When studying Ashtadhyayi and commentaries on Ashtadhyayi, it would help to be clear about which one is a Paniniya Samjna and which one is coined by later commentators, later grammarians. The Sutram Taparastat 1170 seems to have been used primarily to denote singular vowels. Having said that, it means the name coining tool as detailed in Sutrani 132 to 138 which I quoted earlier. But see, 6328, Idvruddhau, Idvruddhau. Here it means letter E, used as a substitute Adesh. It is rather intriguing that the same word Samjna, such as it, is used with different meanings. About it, there is an exhaustive detail given in Abhyankar Shukla's Dictionary of Sanskrit Grammar. When I say exhaustive detail, you can see what I have done, I have taken screenshots of the from that dictionary where the detailing is there about the word it, and you can see that I had to take 6 screenshots to complete to get all this detailing of what is an it as detailed in Abhyankar Shukla's Dictionary of Sanskrit Grammar. Now that is a different dictionary. That is not the regular Sanskrit dictionary, because the title itself says Dictionary of Sanskrit Grammar. Now I will not spend time in reading all this, although it is very very important, but because it will consume a lot of time, I am not going to read this. The whole point is that it, about it is rather intriguing that the same word samjna, such as it, is used with different meanings. So what all different meanings are there in it as a grammatical term, as has been detailed in Abhyankar Shukla's Dictionary of Sanskrit Grammar, that is what I have compiled here in this, in as many screenshots. Also, ach is a pratyahar samjna obtained by Adirantena Saheta technique, applied to Shiva Sutrani 1 to 4, and by that ach connotes the set of all vowels. Now the Sutrani 1 to 4, Shiva Sutrani 1 to 4 are Ayun, Rul Ruk, A Om, I Ouch. So starting from A and then ending at Ch, and then it covers the swaras, the vowels A, I, U, Rul, Ru, A, O, I, Au. So it covers all the swaras, all the vowels. So ach is a pratyahar samjna, and ach becomes the set of all vowels. Just for additional information, note that ach is also a krut pratyaya. See sutram number 31134. Now when I say 31134, I have been using this kind of a numbering system. This refers to sutram number 134 in padaha, prathamaha padaha of trutiyaha adhyaya. Trutiyaha adhyaya, third chapter, first quarter, and in that first quarter, sutram number 134. So what the sutram reads? Nandigrahi pachadibhyo lunin nyachaha lunin nyachaha achaha. It is the lunini achaha. So ach is a krut pratyaya. Ach is also a dhatu. Ach, achati achate, achungatau, याचने च भ्वादिहि उभयपदी सकर्मकः गतौ याचने. Ach means a kind of a movement, gatau, and yachane, kind of begging or requesting, soliciting. The gist is still that singular vowels are named by a samjna for each, comprising the vowel and the end marker ta, based on tapara tatkalasya 170. So at is samjna for a, at is samjna for a, it is samjna for it, eat is samjna for e, ut is samjna for u, oot is samjna for u, et is samjna for I, and then we are left with o, au, etc. Even ru and all that. See, idude dvivachanam pragryham 1111. Here, eat, oot, et exactly connote e, u, a. Now, ut is samjna for ut, as in Udoshtya Purvasya 71102. Note, Ut is also a Pradihi, Upasargaha, listed in the Ganapatha of Sutram Pradayah. There are 22 of them. And the Sutram for which the Ganapatha is there, that Sutram is Pradayah 1458. Actually, Ut has different meanings in different contexts. As per Sutra list for Ut obtained at https://wordindex/word, and this word is for Ut. All that notation, percentage, E, 0, O, or 0, percentage, etc. is the transliteration as happens for the word Ut. But I do not see Taparastatkalasya 1170 used to make Samjñas for singular consonants. What I have described above is Ta of Taparastatkalasya used to make Samjñas for vowels. Eet means E, Oot means Oo, Et means A. That Ta connotes Tatkalasya. Only just that only. But what about consonants? For singular consonants, there seem to be different patterns. In Taparastatkalasya 1170, the consonant Ta is made of Ta plus A. Taparastatkalasya starts with Ta. But does that Ta means the Ta plus A? No. It stands for consonant Ta. In Sutram Che 6173, Che is Saptamyekavachanam of Cha, which is Savjna for Cha. So Cha is Cha plus A. Same as Savjna for Ta, the consonant Ta is mentioned as Ta plus A in Taparastatkalasya. The Pratipadikam Cha is vowel ending. Che is Saptamyekavachanam of Cha. So it can become, Che can become the Saptamyekavachanam only if the Pratipadikam is Cha plus A. Vowel ending, rather A ending. Similar to Ta for Ta in Taparastatkalasya 1170. But in Tor Li 8460, Li is Saptamyekavachanam of La without A. Here the Pratipadikam is La, the consonant itself. That means the consonant itself is used as a Samjña, and then Panini has used its Saptamyekavachanam. So unless it is a Samjña, how can he make Saptami Ekvachanam of that? So he has made Saptami Ekvachanam as Che by taking the Samjña for Cha as A ending. And he has made Li as the Saptami Ekvachanam of La by taking the consonant itself as the Pratipadikam. There are many Pratyahara Samjñas for sets of consonants. Earlier I mentioned the Pratyahar Ach, which denotes all the vowels from the Shiva Sutrani 1 to 4. Ayun, Rul, Rup, Aon, I, Ouch. Now here Hal is a Pratyahara Samjña obtained by Adirantena Sahita technique applied to Shiva Sutrani 5 to 14. Shiva Sutram number 5 to Shiva Sutram number 14. So as many as 10 Shiva Sutrani. They are all together combined in composing a Pratyahara Samjña as Hal. So which are the Shiva Sutrani from 5 to 14? Hayavarat, लं यमगणनम झभय घड़धश जबगड़दश खप छटत चटतौ kapay shashasar hal. So ends with l hal and starts with hayavarat h. So starting from h, ending in the sutram number 5, ending with l, the anubandha in Shiv Sutra number 14. That pratyahara samjna then embraces all consonants. Hayavarat, Lan, Yamagananam, Zabhai, Ghadadhash, Zabagadash, Khapachatata Chatatau, Kapai, Shashasar, Hal. Now, her is occurring at two places, but I am not going into detail of that because then I will have to discuss all the pratyahara samjnas and why her is appearing twice. First time in Shiva Sutra number 5 and again Hal Shiva Sutra number 14. But basic concept is by using the Hadirantena Sahita technique, there are many pratyahara samjnas for sets of components, different sets of components. Again, Ku is samjna. This is how for all consonants of Kavarga. Now, in Shiva Sutrani 5 to 14, the consonants are not the way we find them, the way or in the order in which we find them in the dictionary. In the dictionary, the order is ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. So that is not the order by which these consonants are placed in the Shiva Sutra. So, Panini has used yet another samjna for all consonants of Kavarga, and that samjna is Ku. Chu for all consonants of Chavarga. Tu for all consonants of Tavarga. Tu for all consonants of Tavarga. Pu for all consonants of Pavarga. Sorry, by mistake, it has become Puvarga. The technique of coining these samjnas, Kuchututupu, is by Sutram Anudit Savarnasya Cha Pratyayaha 1169. And in Sutram 137, which I mentioned earlier about the different its, that Sutram 137 is Chutu. There is even Iteretara Dvandva Samasaha of Chu and Tu. Chutu is the Iteretara Dvandva Samasaha of Chu and Tu together, Chutu. As such, Upadesha Samjna is used directly in 132, Upadesha Janunasika It. It certainly is an important grammatical term and merits definition. But maybe Panini thought it fit to use it directly because maybe it was prevalent already in Sanskrit grammar. Panini was of course not the first and only grammarian. In Ashtadhyayi itself, Panini has made reference to many other grammarians, Shakalya, Shakatayana, etc., mostly his predecessors, not contemporaries. Panini himself is said to be of 500 BC. So 5 centuries before the Christian era. And then the Shakalya and Shakatayana, their treatment of Sanskrit grammar is much earlier to that, and Panini has made reference to their work of grammar. So you can imagine how old is the study of grammar of Sanskrit. Samjna Vibhakti, the Samjna Vibhakti, see 134, na Vibhaktau tu smaha, encompasses both Suk Pratyayaha and Ting Pratyayaha, though in common parlance, Vibhakti is related with Suk Pratyayaha. So we have to understand every samjna. And then there are n number of samjnas. So earlier I mentioned that it is contended that there are 91 sutrani which are samjna sutrani out of the total 3983 sutrani in Ashtadhyayi. But if we have to take cognizance of so many samjnas, like Upadeshe, it is not defined, it is just directly used, but it is a samjna, an important samjna. So in Sanskrit, every dhatu, every pratyaya has a Vyakaraniya samjna, grammatical nomination. For example, Vyakaraniya samjna of dhatu gam is gam rung. Gam rung. That ru is a vowel and rung is its anunasika, nasal pronunciation of that vowel ru. And because it is nasal pronunciation of ru, because it is a vowel, anunasika vowel, it becomes an it. By the sutram 132 upadeshe anunasika janunasika it, and hence has to be dropped. So dhatu is to be understood as gam only, but gam rung is its Vyakaraniya samjna, grammatical name. Dhatu kru has Vyakaraniya samjna as kri when Panchamaganayaha Ubhayapadi, and dukri when Ashtamaganayaha Ubhayapadi. There must be some coding system by which the Vyakaraniya samjna for different dhatus are coined. I do not know whether the coding system has been decoded. It is obvious that the coining employs is Sutrani 132 to 138. In actual usage, all its are to be dropped as dictated by 139 Tasya Lopaha. So Tasya Lopaha dictates what is to be done with those its. So it is a Vidhi Sutra, dictating the Vidhi, what is to be done with it. Many samjnaha have more than one its. See, in Dukri, there is a du as per 135 Adini Tudavaha, and ya as per 133 Halantyam. So more than one its also are used, and not just at one it at the beginning and another it at the end, Dukri. Even toward the end, there are many cases where more than its are used. There are 40 plus pratyayaha which affix as a only. Naturally, they all have to have different Vyakaraniya samjna. Dr. S. M. Katre made a good compilation, and this is an old publication of sometime of the year 1962. And his compilation, his book, is titled Glossary of Grammatical Elements and Operations in Ashtadhyayi. I am giving here the link to that book. So it would be interesting to read how 40 plus pratyayaha are detailed and which all actually affix only as a only. But because the significance of those pratyayaha are different, 40 different significances, they have to have different names. So there are 40 plus names of different pratyayaha which as affixing, they affix as only. Some pratyayaha have Vyakaraniya samjnaha which are null sets. That is every component of the samjna suffers lopa. So nothing actually affixes. For example, pratyayaha quin. Note, quin is ka, va, in and na. Ka is it as per 138 lashakvat adhite and suffers lopaha by 139 tasya lopaha. Va is aprukta as per where apruktasya 6177 and suffers lopaha by 6166. Ing is it as per 132 upadeshe jananunasika it and suffers lopaha by 139 tasya lopaha. Na is it as per 133 halantyam and suffers lopaha by 139 tasya lopaha. Isn't it amazing that Panini thought of composing a Vyakaraniya Saujna which is a null set and becomes a good example of that concept in mathematics, in respect of which a Google search on history of set theory in mathematics says set theory however was founded by a single paper in 1874 by George Cantor. What about Panini having composed a null set in 2500 years ago? And here they are speaking set theory was founded by a single paper in 1874. Just a little more, 216 years back or so, 236 to be precise. Service plus 20, 46. 246. And this we are speaking of Panini 2500 years ago. If at that time itself Panini had thought of this mathematical concept of null set, what is there to say that the set theory was founded in 1874? Anyway, when discussing ut as a Vyakaraniya Saujna, it has been mentioned earlier that ut has different meaning in different contexts as per sutra list for ut obtainable at https://www.ashtadhyayi.com word index. The compilation https://www.ashtadhyayi.com/word index is virtually a dictionary of Ashtadhyayi. It comes to mind that it would be useful to compile sort of a thesaurus, Nighantuhu or Amarkoshaha of Ashtadhyayi, especially for Dhatu Patha. The idea is to know all the Dhatavaha which have the same meaning, for example, Gatau. Now earlier I mentioned Ach, Gatau Yachane. So Ach is one Dhatu. I already earlier mentioned Gam, Gamrung. That also has the meaning Gatau. Then there are three Dhatus. Ik, ing, in. Thereof Dvitiya Ganeha Parasmapadi. In, especially there, it has the meaning Gatau. So there are so many Dhatus which have the same meaning Gatau. Then we should have a thesaurus of which all Dhatavaha have the same meaning Gatau. And it would become kind of a thesaurus kind of a comparison. Since Ashtadhyayi has only Sutrani and a Sutram has to be Alpaksharam, one may think that there would be hardly any Tigantam or Krudantam serving the verbal function. But there are Tigantaha used as Vyakaraniya Saujna. An interesting example is Tigantam Karoti, used by Saptamya Ekvachanam, Karotau, in Samparyupebhyaha Karotau Bhushane 61137. Here Karoti means any Tigantam or Krudantam obtained from Dhatu Kru. So it is the name of a set. For all Tigantam or Krudantam, Tigantani or Krudantani obtained from Dhatu Kru. And there all that set has been given the Saujna as Karoti. And for Saujna of Karoti, in this Sutram, some Paryupebhya Karotau Bhushane, Karotau is Saptamya Ekvachanam of that Samjna Karoti, which is the name of the set comprising all the Tigantani and Krudantani of Dhatuhu Kru. Example is of how this particular sutram has been used with a word derived from Tigantam or Krudantam from Dhatu Kru. Example is Samskaraha. See, what is important in this particular sutram, Sam Pari Upa. If these are the prefixes before the Dhatu Kru, and if the meaning is Bhushane, it should have a positive meaning. In which case, there is extra sa coming in. Sam karaha, extra sa comes in, so samskaraha. That is what this sutram is specifying. Sanskrutam, parishkrutihi, upaskaraha, so upaskaraha. So wherever a word Tigantam or Krudantam derived from Dhatu Kru has some or pari or upa as the upasarga or pradi, then extra sa comes in only if the meaning is positive. For example, in Gita, there is a word in the Prathamadhyaya, Sankaraha. Sankaro narakaya eva kulaghranam kulasya. There Sankaraha is adverse mixing of the genes. So it does not have a positive meaning. So there in Sankaraha, although Karaha is a sort of a upapadam derived from Dhatu Kru, and there is some the upasarga before it, there it does not become samskaraha, it becomes only sankaraha, because the meaning is not bhushane. But in samskaraha, the meaning is positive, and hence then extra sa comes in. I have compiled this write-up just noting down the thoughts as they came to mind. I would like to recompose it to get clearer or at a glance picture about questions such as different techniques employed in Ashtadhyayi for composing Vyakaraniyaha Samjnaha. I am extremely indebted. Why I have made a marker here is because after I made this much of the write-up, I sent it over to a few people and to 2 Google groups from where I thought they would be able to get responses or critical view of this write-up from Samskrita Vidvamsa. And I am extremely indebted to the responses from Samskrita Vidvamsa who spared their valuable time and offered valuable comments and suggestions on the above write-up. Here is now an attempt to extend the thoughts further, taking clues from the comments and suggestions. Students of Sanskrit often use books such as Shabda Dhatu Rupavali. That arouses a curiosity, what is a Shabda? I think the title Shabda Dhatu Rupavali has inherent a negative definition of Shabda. What is not a Dhatuhu or is not an Avyam is a Shabda. In Ashtadhyayi, there is Sutram 1168. Swam Rupam Shabdasya Shabda Samjna. No, Shabdasya Shabda Samjna is Shabdasya Ashabda Samjna. The word Ashabda Samjna is Na Shabda Samjna iti Ashabda Samjna naitat Purusha. So, Swam Rupam Shabdasya Shabda Samjna na. This also sounds to be a negative definition. The important point is that it speaks of Swam Rupam. What is Swam Rupam? Every newborn child has a Swam Rupam, but that does not become the child's Samjna. That Swam Rupam of the child, Shabda Samjnana, it is given a name. The child is given a name and that given name becomes its Samjna. That is how I mentioned earlier Donald Trump. When born, the child Donald Trump did not have the name. Only when the child was given that name, that whole person became Donald Trump. So Swamrupam Shabda Samjnana. The reason why Panini composed samjnas for every dhatu, for every pratyaya, for every varna, at for at for a, for every other grammatical element, the reason for all that exercise seems to be embedded in this sutram 1168, Swam Rupam Shabdasya Shabda Samjna. So it has to be given a name. So if so, the word Shabda in this sutram cannot be limited to what is not a dhatu or an avyam, is a Shabda. Certainly, every dhatu, every pratyaya, every varna, every other grammatical element has a Swam Rupam and merits to have a Samjna which has to be given, which has to be coined. Looks like in the process of composing Ashtadhyayi, Panini also did all that exhaustive work of composing all the Samjnas. He even composed a null set Samjna such as Queen, or thought of using a Tigantam Karoti as a Samjna. As he proceeded along, composing Sutrani of Ashtadhyayi, he did compose or coin Samjnas for sure. One important aspect also covered in Ashtadhyayi is phonetics, rather phonology, because a scientific outlook is very evident. That is why instead of phonetics, logy means scientific outlook. So I would call it as phonology. Is there any language other than Sanskrit where it is analyzed that every vowel can be pronounced in 18 different ways? Ashtadhyayi does that 2500 years ago and has samjnas for that. Anunasika, nasal, and its antonym ananunasika. So a vowel can be pronounced as a or is anunasik and is ananunasik. Then it can be pronounced as rasva dirgha pluta. A. Also udatta anudatta swarita. That is, udatta is raised, anudatta is stressed down, and swarita is level. There are 5 sutrani detailing this. So ananunasika 2 multiplied by rasva dirgha pluta 2 multiplied by 3 6, and then udatta anudatta swarita 6 multiplied by 3 18 different ways, very clearly analyzed. There are 5 sutrani detailing this. 118 mukhanasika vachanonu nasikam, which specifies that the pronunciation can be nasal or non-nasal. Then 1227 ukalo jhasvadirgha plutaha, kalaha, that the length of time devoted, short, long, extra long. 1229 uchchairudattaha, raised. 1230 nichairudattaha, stressed down. 1231 samahara swaritaha, level. There has been a fashion to undermine Sanskrit tradition as having been an oral tradition, implying that Sanskritists did not develop writing. Maybe the argument could be that Sanskritists did not know writing, did not develop writing, or did not promote writing, or did not advocate writing. On the contrary, it should be appreciated that Sanskritists did recognize the limitations of writing. For example, can we write every vowel in all 18 ways of its pronunciation? But every vowel has all those 18 variations of pronunciations. So they knew the limitations. And every pronunciation is also meaningful, not that it is a style of pronouncing a. For example, if I say what I am meaning? I am cautioning maybe a child that it is indulging in some action which is not an approvable action. See, just that sound is a universal language. Parents all over the world or across the ages would be using this pronunciation to caution the child that it is indulging in something which is not approvable. Language. And it is a style of pronunciation of the vowel a. Can you write it that way? And that is why the pronunciation in a particular style has a meaning. And if a mantra has to be pronounced, has to be specified to be pronounced in a particular way, it has to be pronounced that way only. And what way is that can be transmitted by the Guru to his disciples only by oral tradition. So do we make then the statement, a criticism that Sanskritists did not know writing? They knew the limitations of writing. The phonological thought can be referred back to the earlier discussion of the word Shabda. In dictionaries, one finds many meanings of the word Shabda. Etymologically, one can decipher Shabda as a Shap iti dhvanim dadati iti Shabda upapattat purusha. Note Shap, Shapang, Akroshe, Bhadihi, Ubhaipadi, Sakarmakaha, Anit. Where I mentioned Shap iti dhvanim, I am mentioning Shap, sound, dadati. But Shap is also a dhatu. Akroshe. And that dhatu itself has tigantas in two different forms. Bhadihi means Prathamaganiyaha Ubhaipadi. Divadihi means Chaturthaganiyaha Ubhaipadi. In Uptight Dictionary, Shap is also detailed as a technical term used by Panini for the conjugational sign a inserted between the root and the termination of the conjugational tenses in the first class of roots. So Shap is a Vikaranam or Vikarana Pratyaya for the dhatus of Prathamagana. Shap, indeclinable, a particle and prefix implying assent or compliance. Then Shap, as I detailed above, first and fourth gana Ubhaipadi, Shapati te, Shapyati te, and its ta krudantam Shapta. Meaning of Shap is to curse, akroshe, execrate, and its causative is Shapayati te, to bind by an oath, conjure, Shapita. For this word Shabda, There is a 4 column long detailing in Shabda Kalpadruma. A couple of grammatically interesting details are Churadihi, Parasmaipadi, Akarmakaha, set. K, Shabdayati, Sopasargastva Vishkrutau Mataha. Prashabdayati, गभीरम अत्यर्थम शिष्यः स्फुटीकरोति इति अर्थः. गभीरम अत्यर्थम शिष्यः स्फुटीकरोति इति अर्थः प्रशब्दयति. पुल्लिंगम शब्द इज पुल्लिंगम. शब्द प्लस घभावे घय. शब्द हियर इज द धातु शब्दयति, चुरादि, and bhave ghai of that dhatu becomes shabdah. This is another etymology mentioned for this word shabdah in Shabda Kalpadruma. Yadva shap akroshe shashapibhyam dadanau. Unadi 4-97 iti dan. Pakarasya bakaraha. So shab dan. Dan means the only. Na is the it goes away. So shab becomes shab because of pakarasya bakaraha, and the shashapibhyam dadanau. From that the affixes, and that is how shabda. And interestingly, it is its meaning as Shrotra Grahya Guna Padartha Vishesha. What is Shabda? It is that kind of a wave or kind of a energy created which is to be grahya, which is to be absorbed, which has to become a sensation in Shrotram, that is ear. So Shabdaha is meaningless unless it is captured by some ear and makes a sense, creates a sensation in the listener's ear. Otherwise I may shout at the highest pitch of my voice. What is the use if it falls on deaf ears? So Shabdaha is that Shabdaha which falls and grasped by ear. Then only it is Shabda. Oh God, what scientific analysis! Tatparyaya or its other variations. Ninadaha, Ninadaha, Dhvanihi, Dhvanaha, Ravaha, Swanaha, Swanaha, Nirghoshaha, Nirhadaha, Nadaha, Niswanaha, Niswanaha, Aravaha, Aravaha, Sauravaha, Viravaha. These are all the different synonyms and some antonyms like Niswanaha and what, which are compiled together by Amaraha with reference to the word Shabda. This etymological detail of the word Shabda underscores the need to understand Samjnas in Ashtadhyayi from their etymological aspect. Actually, study of Vedas can be a complete study only when they are studied by all 6 aspects. So that is why it is called as Shadangabhyasaha of a Veda. And which are the 6 aspects? Shiksha, phonetics; Nirukta, etymology; Chanda, prosody; Jyotish, auspicious time; Kalpa, ritual; Vyakaranam, grammar. These are mentioned in a couplet of verses. Chandah padau tu vedasya hastau kalpotha patyate jyotishamayana chakshur dhiruktam shrotramuchyate शिक्षा घ्राणंस्तु वेदस्य मुखं व्याकरणं स्मृतं तस्मात् सांगमधीत्येव ब्रह्मलोके महीयते. Vedas are, every Veda is to be studied from all these 6 angles. Then only the study of Vedas can be considered as a complete and comprehensive study. Another view of Shadangabhyasa is study of Samhita, the way the text is quoted, Pada, the words therein, Krama, the syntax in which the words, the padas, the words are to be understood, Nirukta, the etymology of the words, Chanda means phonetics and phonology plus meter plus figures of speech also. And next Vyakarana. The study can and should go further to delve deeper into Bhavartha, which are sort of summarized in the Upanishad. So study of Vedas should also include study of Upanishad, that is of Bhavartha. And this logic of studying Samhita, Pada, Krama, Nirukta, Chanda, Vyakaranam, Bhavartha applies to the study of any Sanskrit text. This write-up is available in a blog post of mine at the following link. Shubhamastu.